name is Alex, and I used to work night shifts at Oakwood High School. It was just a job to pay the bills while I finished my degree, but little did I know it would change my life forever. I still can't shake the memories of that night, the night when everything I thought I knew about reality was shattered. It was a typical Friday evening in late October. The air was crisp and fallen leaves crunched under my feet as I made my way across the empty parking lot. The school loomed before me, a hulking shadow against the darkening sky. As I fumbled with my keys, a chill ran down my spine. I brushed it off as just the autumn wind, but looking back, I think it was my subconscious trying to warn me. The moment I stepped inside, I knew something was different. The familiar smell of chalk dust and floor cleaner was tainted with something else, something I couldn't quite place. Musty, damp, almost organic. I shook my head, trying to clear my thoughts. It's just an old building, I told myself. Nothing to worry about. I made my way down the main corridor, my footsteps echoing in the eerie silence. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting strange, dancing shadows on the walls. I'd never noticed how creepy those shadows could be, like twisted figures reaching out with gnarled fingers. I quickened my pace, my heart starting to race. As I turned the corner towards the science wing, I froze. There, at the far end of the hallway, I saw something. A figure, tall and unnaturally thin, standing perfectly still. I blinked, and it was gone. Just a trick of the light, I assured myself, but my hands were shaking as I reached for the light switch. Nothing happened. The lights in the science wing remained stubbornly dark. I fumbled for my flashlight, the beam cutting through the darkness like a knife. As I swept it across the hallway, I caught a glimpse of movement out of the corner of my eye. I whirled around, but there was nothing there, just rows of lockers and closed classroom doors. I tried to laugh it off, but the sound caught in my throat. "Get a grip, Alex," I muttered to myself. "You're letting your imagination run wild." But as I spoke, I realized how loud my voice sounded in the oppressive silence, and then I heard it. A whisper so faint I almost missed it. "Alex." I spun around, my flashlight beam dancing wildly across the walls. "Who's there?" I called out, trying to keep my voice steady. No answer, just that horrible, suffocating silence. I decided to check the classrooms, convinced that someone must be playing a cruel prank. But as I tried the first door, I found it locked. And the next. And the next. Every single door in the hallway was locked tight, even though I knew I had the master key. My breath was coming in short, sharp gasps now. I turned to head back to the main office to call someone, anyone. But as I reached the end of the hallway, I realized with growing horror that the door I'd come through was now closed and locked. I rattled the handle, panic rising in my chest. "This isn't happening," I whispered, my voice cracking. "This can't be happening." But it was. I was trapped in a dark hallway with no way out and the growing certainty that I wasn't alone. That's when I heard it again. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate footsteps coming from behind me. I turned, my flashlight beam shaking violently. There, at the far end of the hallway, was the figure I'd seen earlier. But this time, it didn't disappear. It started moving towards me. I screamed. I couldn't help it. The sound tore from my throat as I backed away, fumbling with my keys, trying every single one on the lock behind me. The figure kept coming, its movements jerky and unnatural. In the beam of my flashlight, I could see that its face was wrong, distorted, like a photograph that had been stretched and twisted. Just as the figure was about to reach me, my key finally turned in the lock. I burst through the door, slamming it shut behind me. I ran, my feet pounding against the linoleum floor, my breath coming in ragged gasps. I didn't stop until I reached the main entrance, bursting out into the cool night air. I collapsed on the grass, gulping in deep breaths, my whole body shaking. When I finally looked up, the school stood silent and dark, as if nothing had happened. But I knew. I knew what I'd seen. I quit my job the next day. I couldn't bring myself to set foot in that building again. For weeks afterward, I jumped at every shadow, convinced that the figure was following me. I couldn't sleep without the lights on. Even now, years later, I break out in a cold sweat when I think about that night. I've tried to rationalize it, to convince myself it was all in my head. But deep down, I know the truth. Something was in that school that night. Something that shouldn't exist in our world. And sometimes, in the dead of night, I swear I can hear that whisper again. Alex, I'm sharing this story as a warning. There are things in this world that we can't explain, things that lurk in the shadows of old buildings and abandoned places. If you ever find yourself alone in a dark, quiet place and you feel that chill run down your spine, don't ignore it. Run. Run as fast as you can, because you never know when you might encounter something that will haunt you for the rest of your life. Something that will make you question everything you thought you knew about reality. Something that will leave you forever looking over your shoulder, wondering if that flicker in the corner of your eye is just your imagination, or something much, much worse. I still drive past Oakwood High sometimes. It looks normal during the day, with students milling about and teachers going about their business. But I know its secret. I know what lurks in its halls when the sun goes down. And I can't help but wonder, has anyone else encountered what I did that night? Are there others out there carrying the same terrifying memories, too afraid to speak up? If you're out there, if you've experienced something similar, know that you're not alone. But also know this, some mysteries are better left unsolved. Some doors are meant to stay locked, and some nights are darker than others. So the next time you find yourself alone in a dark, quiet place, and you hear an unexplained noise or see a shadow move where no shadow should be, remember my story, and whatever you do, don't look back, because you never know what might be gaining on you in the darkness.